We are living in really testing times. When I mean by testing, it means that our hope, our faith in what we consider humanity, or even the supernatural elements that determine what is good or bad, whatever you call it, a higher power, a God, that is being tested right now. But what we have to realize that what's going on right now, for example, in Gaza, the complete genocide, and you could even say it's worse than genocide in some regard, because it's done by a terrorist state which has been given and has tried to obscure the truth by mere virtue of the fact that it is very much tied in with the hegemony, the power structures of the Western world. And for that reason, Israel is still given the benefit of the doubt. It's given plausible deniability, even though it is by its very foundation, it is an ethnic cleansing, genocidal terror state, and is now engaged in a brutal genocide, and it's constantly lying, whitewashing, and just trying to pull the wool over our eyes. But we are obviously privy to what is going on. We're privy to the video, the kind of videos that are coming out, the evidence that's coming out, the testimonies. It's all out there. But despite the fact that it's so crystal clear, there are people with great amount of wealth and therefore have a lot of power in trying to sway our opinion. For example, TikTok, which has been a powerful transmitter of the material, what is coming out of Gaza, what is coming out in the world in general. And it has been a tool used by people who are looking to spread a humanitarian message as well as document the genocide that is happening right now. There are powerful forces at play. For example, one of the richest people, in fact, the second richest person on the planet, and he actually alternate, the richest person on this planet, often people think of it as Elon Musk, but actually alternates from month to month between Elon Musk and Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison has just bought out TikTok, and TikTok now is in a compromised position, especially in the US. Now, this doesn't mean that TikTok is completely gone for those who are outside the US, but it had a lot of sway. It's one of the only apps that is not compromised by mere virtue of the fact that it's not owned by the Facebook, for example, Mark Zuckerberg. It's not owned by Google, which of course these two mega corporations, these conglomerates, they have a lot of, they are basically the market square. They are the place in which people transmit the ideas, and as well as Google is the number one directory for websites. It's what you use to search for certain whatever is in your on your mind. You can search for it, and Google is now intertwined with AI. And AI is very much intertwined with a lot of apps right now. In fact, nearly every app, from Meta to Google to WhatsApp, and of course WhatsApp is owned by Meta, but and AI is very much of course, it's very much a tool that can be mismanaged at the very best, and it can be used to, obviously, it can be used to manipulate by mere virtue of the answers that it gives. It might have bias built into it, but also it can record every single interaction. It can record and make sort of predictions, and the same that AI currently is being used to strike at any guy, Palestinian who merely utters the thought of any kind of belief that they have a life worth living. not that it matters anyway. The genocide that's happening right now is something that is a means that is necessary for Israel's plan to maintain deterrence in the region of Middle East, but also to ensure that there is no continual resistance against this genocidal, ethnic cleansing, colonial front of the West. And even the founder of political Zionism, Theodor Herzl, he said that he did not care so much about religion itself. He didn't care about God. He himself was a secularist, but he wanted Israel to be a Western front in the Middle East against the savages. So therefore, he did not care about indigeneity. And a lot of people who are in support of Israel, from the Larry Ellisons to the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Alan Dershowitz, these people live in America and they don't spend most of their time in Israel. And why is that? Because these people could care less about Israel. They couldn't care less about Israel because of the fact that they themselves see Israel as merely just a project to express their own racial supremacy. They care about their own racial supremacy because these people, by virtue of their own personalities, are narcissistic. They have these basically inhumane impulses that, if we saw and was expressed by anyone around us, we would, avoid them and keep them at arm's length. But these people have great amount of power. Peter Mandelson, Jeffrey Epstein. These people, they may not even follow the same religion. Bill Clinton, George Bush. These all people are in the same kind of like network, essentially. Tony Blair. These people are the worst of the worst, and they have this sway, they have the power by mere virtue of the fact that they're connected to capital. And, it's very easy to see all of this happening and to lose our sense of hope and faith. But we have something that they do not have. We have the numbers. We also have the ability to transmit information, and we don't need to rely on one app or another app. We can use all these apps, and if one of those apps go down, we can transmit our information and content in different ways, in different apps. And so if you are inclined to speak your truth, to speak the truth, and you are essentially somebody who agrees with what I'm saying, there is so much need for you out there in the world. You need to go out and speak your truth, speak the truth, and spread your word in all these different formats. You need to ensure that the truth gets out there. And, there are people out there that, this whole, there's a whole kind of like drive from Larry Ellison and his son to take over TikTok. There's also a drive for his son take over Paramount. There's they want to essentially own the marketplace of ideas. And so that will squeeze us in some way to use applications that may not be mainstream. It may mean that we may have to continuously keep creating new accounts in order to ensure that we've seen this time and time again. People are shadow banned by mere virtue of the fact that they are just they're spreading something that is inconvenient to the application. That is, but is nonetheless truthful and is non-confrontational in the way that it's not attacking any individual. It's attacking systems often, but it's always something that is going to be more rigidly built into the ecosystem, into the algorithm, but the truth does not die. That's the amazing thing. You can spend a lot of money, you can spend a lot of resources, you can take over the marketplace, but the truth does not die. And it's for us to find out the truth and to transmit the truth in our daily life, to spread the word. That's all that we can do. Is the most virtuous, I think, one of the most virtuous things that we can do. And we need to continuously keep that bright light alive. So we see Larry Ellison taking over TikTok, these all these billionaires taking over the marketplace of ideas. You've got capitalist billionaires who wanted to basically drive the earth to extinction by mere virtue of the fact that they don't really care about climate change, which is something that is around the corner, something that is the elephant in the room in all of this, which has the potential to kill many, many people, or is that, at the very least, is driving a lot of people out of the global south into more cooler climates, which is in turn creating this right-wing populist push to try and push these refugees out of the country, of these cooler climates. And it's driving a lot of the West towards right-wing. And we need to also be very clear about that. We need to be very much, not so much vigilant in a paranoid point of view, but way of being. But we need to understand what is going on. We need to see. We in order to play chess well, we need to know what each movie is doing, which each piece is doing, what each piece can do. And so as well as speaking of truth, I also believe in learning about whatever is out there, learning as much from the enemy, of course, also. So this is really a point for us. It's a spiritual battle right now. It's a spiritual battle for us to learn about ourselves, to learn about the world, and to speak our truth, because the truth does not die. And the philosophical undertones of what is good or bad, the fact that Zionism itself and the underpinning of Zionism, which is ethno supremacy, is basically rooted in fiction. You have a lot of people who are born into as Zionists. For example, let me give you an example. That's redundant, but let me give you a situation, for example, which is based in reality, whereby somebody biologically Arab, or Palestinian or Arab, they're adopted at birth by a Jewish couple who are rigidly Zionist, and so they grew up thinking that they were Zionist, the Jewish, and these people turn out to be very hateful against Arabs. They're very strongly Zionist, and it just goes to show it's all a construct. It's all based on propaganda. It's all based on a repetition of a false idea about yourself, about the world. And it just goes to show the power of the mind as well, the power of the brain to just create convenient fictions in order to feel secure. Because, of course, if you don't know the truth and you're fearful of what is out there, you can create your own or hone in on a dogma which you can settle your whole life on, you can center your whole life on, and it will give you some sense of emotional security. But we must make sure that we continuously ward ourselves against our own tendencies. We must understand that yes, there is a tendency for these billionaires to try and control us or trying to censor us. There's also a tendency, for example, any movement that we take towards a peaceful, just action, for example, the flotilla, the Samud Freedom Flotilla, who try to bring food, essential medicine, baby formula, to the people of Gaza. They were thwarted, their plans were thwarted. And yet there's always good reason to continually doing the right thing. The one, for example, silver lining was that when the Freedom Flotilla, consisting of about 44 boats, when they were, had the Israeli Navy occupied, Palestinians were able to fish for fish. The fishermen were allowed to catch fish only by mere virtue of the fact that the Israeli Navy was distracted, because they prohibit fishermen from fishing. In of course, it's genocide, and actually they don't want anyone to go out and to go to fish. And so it shows us the cruelty, but also shows us that there are going to be silver linings down the line. We just got to keep doing what is right and shine the light on this ignorant, parasitic force of Zionism. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. They'll be very much appreciated. Thank you.